Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. My name is Ruru and I am a TV Holic. So today Mimi's not here again because she does not watch Choo-ry or the new season, which I'm going to be discussing today, which is season 2. It's not very new. It came out last year, but I've just got around to watching it right now because I've been watching a lot of TV. And it's called season 2 Do or Die. Basically, this season it starts off with Choo Sung-Hoon talking to the camera. He's just sitting there at a desk and he's just talking. So basically, this is he just is is a totally different format from the other season, the previous season. So in season 1, the focus was basically on talking to celebrities and stuff like that. Season 2 is more about Choo Sung-Hoon's personal bucket list of extreme challenges that he wants to test himself to see if he can survive them, or he just wants to knock these things off his bucket list before he basically dies. And the breakdown of season 2 episode 1, which is the premiere, is basically, let me just talk about the main cast and a bit of background about this whole thing. So the show basically centers almost entirely this episode around Choo Sung-Hoon, and he has various guests and mentors probably in the next episode and all the episodes in the season. But for this one, as you guys already know, he's a legendary MMA fighter, and he's also an Olympic judoka. And the mission in this basic season is to basically he wants to prove that age is just a number, and he's going to face tasks that are physically painful and mentally draining, or just weird and just random things that he wants to do. I think this is a really great concept for a TV show, and I'm surprised that a lot of other celebrities and things like that have not done this kind of a concept for a TV show. I know it's a bit extreme, so not a lot of people would want to do it, but I know there are a lot of other extreme people just like Choo Sung-Hoon that might want to do something like this. So I think this is a really good concept for a show. So this episode, basically episode 1, is called Shock It, or something shocking bucket list, or shock it off. The bucket list begins, and it's with so the first episode that's what it's titled, Shock It Off. The bucket list begins, and it basically kind of focuses on Choo Sung-Hoon meeting a hip hop Korean hip hop band called EPIK High, with Tablo, Mithra, Jin, and DJ Tukutz. Hope I'm saying that right. And the episode basically starts with Choo Sung-Hoon meeting this band and hip hop band, and I believe that he's met one of them before in the past, and the vibe is quite chaotic. And then Choo Sung-Hoon explains that for season 2 explains to them that for season 2 he wants to do things that he's never done before, and specifically things that scare him or challenge his tough guy image kind of thing. So EPIK High and Choo have been friends for years, I think like one of the members has been friends for years with him, the one that was sitting next to him, and their chemistry is like good, and they aren't afraid to like tease him, and they're not like intimidated by. Well, they are still intimidated by Choo Sung-Hoon. I don't personally find. I know I've mentioned this before in other episodes, but I don't personally find him like scary or like intimidating. I can't understand what they find scary about him. He looks like a teddy bear. It's not really like frightening. Like seeing him, they're like, "Oh, he's so big, he's so scary." Like I don't know what they find scary about him. I can't understand it. Also, I forgot to mention that at the beginning of this episode, well, I think I did mention, but I didn't continue talking about it. They basically, he's sitting down on the table and he's talking, and he's basically talking to the screen, and he's talking about like all the different like things that he wants to knock off his bucket list for this season. So he did mention that he wanted to get like uh not electrocuted, but he wanted to be, hit with like a stun gun. He also wanted to like do other things like I don't know why I can't recall. I'm like drawing a blank right now, but he wanted to do a lot of other things. I think he wanted to jump out of an aeroplane or something like that, or maybe I'm just like making this up. There's a lot of things he wanted to do basically. So he wants to knock these things off his list and he's pretty excited. So he's just talking about he wants to do that, and the producer's job is basically to make these things happen for him and film it and make it really interesting for the show. So like getting back to this whole situation, uh like I said, he's like meeting with like the guys and they've got like great chemistry because they're like friends. And then let's talk about like let's just like move on to like the main challenge of do or die. Basically they're at a police station, one of the biggest police stations in Seoul, South Korea, and they're getting a tour by the police inspectors around the uh actual facilities, and they basically get to see this room where um they were just talking about stuff, and then they kind of like changed the glass into like normal glass. It kind of like shifted from like kind of like like that hidden kind of glass situation, and then they could see everyone below that was working at their desks, and I think they were like it was like a crisis hotline or something like that. So they were taking like calls. So I think that's one of their big call center kind of situations for the police. And everyone was like diligently working, although they knew that Choo Sung-Hoon was like watching them from above, and they were filming for Netflix. And then what happened next? So then they basically were like touring around, and they saw like other parts of like the 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 police station. They also got changed into like not workout wear, but police kind of like workout like training uniform. And then they went into their kind of like I want to say like dojo kind of like training room in the gym, and not in the gym, in the police station. And then they were like kind of practicing all these like self-defense techniques that the like how to disarm someone and things like that the police academy instructors were teaching them. So like the guys from EPIK High and Choo Sung-Hoon were demonstrating these techniques. And obviously Choo Sung-Hoon being a mixed martial artist, he was like adding some flair to each of these situations. And it was funny like how when the police officers like tried to do things to him, like tried to, like disable him from like moving and things like that, he just like escaped and got free. And everyone was like pretty shocked and clapping. And then it got to the point where they had to pick who's going to be tasered. And that was interesting because the guys, no one wanted to be tasered with a taser gun. So, like, two of them picked being uh, tasered with, like, the hand taser instead. So, that was pretty bad, but one of them, I believe it was the DJ guy, he got picked to be the doing the stun gun with Choo Sung-Hoon. So he went first. Actually, let me refer back to my notes for this bit because yeah, so the main challenge was in the do or die theme. Um kicks in when basically like the group discusses like how much pain tolerance they have, and Choo Sung-Hoon being the like world class fighter that he is, he basically claims he can handle almost anything, and then Choo Sung-Hoon like agrees to test his nerves against the shock, um the taser, and it's all done under professional supervision and stuff. And they also have like this kind of like waiver that they have to sign off on. So it's like they're like saying that if anything happens to us, like with the police academy or the police station is not responsible, like for death or whatever. It's just for legal reasons. And then like basically I said that he went first. The DJ guy went first, and like he was freaking out, but he did it and he kind of like fell on the floor. They warned them that it's you're going to just like fall on the floor, and automatically that's why they had two people standing on either side of them to hold them so they can comfortably fall like flat on their face. So then he did it, and he was like it really hurt, and he told Choo Sung-Hoon don't do it or like do it or whatever. So Choo Sung-Hoon looked a bit scared after that, and then so they were holding him and bracing him for the impact, Choo Sung-Hoon, and then the police academy guy just like stopped and walked up to him and touched him on the shoulder, and Choo Sung-Hoon turned around and was like, ah, like he was ready and like ready for the shock, and then he didn't get it, so he just like turned around and was like, what the hell, like he's like, don't do that. And then he went back to his position and he was like bracing himself. And he's like, I'm just going to see if I can hold myself up. So he challenged himself to basically hold himself up instead of like drop down straight away. So when he got hit with the taser, he did like kind of hold himself up for as long as he could. And then he like slowly fell. Everyone was like shocked by that he could hold himself up for that long. So, yeah. So and then there was like a lot of like genuine tension before, like when the like professionals were explaining like what was going to happen in the safety protocol and all that I forgot to mention. And you can see like Choo Sung-Hoon's like athlete side come out, like I said, that he was like focused and everything and heavy breathing, and he was like bracing his body for like impact. And then even like when preparing for the extreme challenge, Choo Sung-Hoon was worried about like his outfit. I noticed that as well. And Epic High like were like relentlessly mocking him for like wearing high-end like designer gear to a like torture session basically. And then Choo Sung-Hoon like for a man who has like been punched by the world's like best fighters, his reaction was like quite small and like unexpected to like the electric shock by the taser gun. And that was quite funny because everyone was like, oh wow, he didn't have that much of a reaction. And he did like let out a high-pitched yell um that kind of like it kind of like broke his like cool facade. um and like Tablo was like really happy about that. Tablo also was like acting like the primary instigator in this situation, and he was like constantly like pushing Choo Sung-Hoon to do one more, even when Choo Sung-Hoon like looks like he's like ready to throw Talbot across like the room basically, like he looked really pissed. And then I just wanted to talk about like the show has like basically moved away from like a studio feel, and it's more like a kind of like a reality adventure kind of style show now. It's like totally different from season 1. And the episode also like establishes like season 2 is like about like Choo Sung-Hoon's like vulnerabilities and his like willingness to look a bit silly and scared and to entertain the audience more in that way. And you can see that Netflix is like clearly upped the budget, and the cinematography during like do or die segments is a bit more like intense. I think they've got like multi cameras or something like that they're using. Um So I feel like the opening of this show is very energetic because like he was sitting at the desk and he was like talking about all the things he wanted to accomplish on his list. And then when his like friends, Epic High, like join him, I thought that was like quite a funny moment. And then they like kind of brainstorm like dangerous things that Chu should try. That was like quite creative of them. And then when Chu Sung-hoon like gets the electric shock, that part was quite funny. And then at the end, it's kind of like ominous because like Choo Sung-hoon realizes season 2 is going to be much harder than he thought, because season 1 was like very much like focused around what the celebrities wanted to do. But season 2 is all about him, and he's kind of like getting this kind of like realization. So it's quite ominous, and there's going to be a lot more scary things that he's going to do, or like weird things that he's going to do. And it's kind of exciting for us as the audience because we don't know what he's going to do next. We don't know if it's going to be scary. We don't know if it's going to be like weird, like, and it's scary for him as well, I guess, because he probably doesn't know until he gets there like what one he's picked to do. I mean, not what one he's picked to do, but what challenge he's going to be doing from the bucket list that he has set out for himself. So that's pretty exciting for him and pretty exciting for us to see or hear as an audience. So yeah, it was an interesting episode. I can't wait for episode 2. I am going to be watching episode 2 right now, so I'll probably do these back to back. So after I finish this, I'll probably do episode 2. I would love if you guys could give us 5 stars on Spotify or wherever you listen to this podcast. Also, we're on socials too, social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. You can also listen to the podcast on YouTube as well. We don't have a video format out for YouTube, but feel free to listen to us there. And we will be back very soon. We'll try to publish every day. I don't publish a podcast episode every day, but I don't know how realistic that is for us because we're both very busy. Me and Mimi are like extremely busy, like with our own like work lives, and we've got a lot going on. So at this point, I don't know if I should be making that commitment to you guys, but we are trying to knock things out as much as we can. And like I said in one of my previous episodes, that Mimi's a bit technically challenged, so we're trying to help her with that situation, get her sorted out, and hopefully we can do something epic, something great. And yeah, that's it. Bye.